Yo, what's going on guys, Camille here. In this video I'm going to be showing you guys how to build Candace. So without further ado, please don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and let's begin. Alright, so first of all, she's going to be used as a support slash sub DPS. She's going to be used as a support because she's going to convert your auto attacks to hydro damage, and she's also going to buff your auto attacks. So she's going to support characters who need that. And obviously a sub DPS because she's going to be able to deal some of her own damage. So generally that's how you'd want to use Candace. Now I'm just going to quickly explain her talent. Her elemental skill is just basically one hit. You can either tap it and she's gonna deal damage, or you can hold it and while you're holding it, you're gonna be like protected by a shield. And when that shield breaks or when you release your elemental skill, you're gonna deal damage. It's basically like Beidu's elemental skill. It's gonna scale off of HP though, so you're not gonna need attack. Her elemental burst, when you use it, it's gonna deal damage, and then it's gonna convert the characters on the field auto attacks to hydro damage. So if you use her and then switch to like Bennett, for example, Bennett is going to be dealing hydro damage. It's also going to buff the auto attacks by 20%, which is a very huge attack buff. Also, every time you switch characters, it's going to deal more damage and apply hydro. The damage from her elemental burst is also going to scale off of your HP. So yeah, that's it really. So she has another passive which gives you a damage bonus based on her HP, and that's about it for her kit. I know a lot of people like her and want to build her as a main DPS. Obviously, if you want to, you can. There's nothing really wrong about that. But I'm just going to tell you whether you should or not. Like, I'm talking meta-wise. Meta-wise, you definitely shouldn't. She's not really made to be a main DPS. Her auto attacks are not really that good. Also, her base attack is definitely very low. And the second thing is her elemental skill and burst is going to scale off of HP. Her auto attacks are still going to scale off of attack. So if you build your auto attacks, you're going to like sacrifice your elemental skill and burst damage. If you build your burst and skill damage, you're going to sacrifice your auto attacks. And for a main DPS, that's not really going to work. So for that reason, I would say she's not really viable as a main DPS at all. Again, if you really like her, then I guess you can build her as a main DPS. Wouldn't recommend it, but you can. If you want to build her as a main DPS just as quick as possible, you'd want to pick a DPS weapon, upgrade your auto attacks first, focus on it, use the 4-piece Heart of Depth, and then attack percent on your sands, hydro damage bonus to your goblet, then crit on your circlet. That's it. So that's a quick build if you want to build her as a main DPS. Now moving on to her support talent priorities, you'd want to upgrade her elemental burst first. You're not really even gaining much by upgrading her elemental burst. You're just gaining some extra damage and that's it. The damage bonus from your elemental burst, like all of the support features, are not really going to change, but if you want to upgrade it for damage, you can. And then next, I guess you can upgrade her elemental skill too, just for more extra damage. If you want to use her as just like a support and you don't really care about her damage, you can just simply not upgrade her talents and she's still going to work fine. Now moving on to her constellations, we're going to see which ones are good and which ones are not. So C1 is going to increase the duration of your elemental burst by 3 seconds. That's going to be a very good constellation, I would say. Especially because C1 is pretty cheap, so it's good. You definitely want to have more uptime on your elemental burst. C2 is just going to increase your HP. I would say it's good too if you really care about her damage. Wouldn't really say it's worth it. You definitely shouldn't go for it, but it's a cool constellation. It's not bad. C3 is going to increase the level of your elemental burst. As I said before, nothing really scale off of her elemental bursts except for like the damage, so it's not really that important, but I guess if you care about her damage, it's cool. C4 is just gonna shorten the hold cooldown of your elemental skill, so there's not really gonna be any difference between if you like hold it and tap it. Again, if you really care about her damage, then I guess it's a cool feature. Other than that, I would say it's not worth it. C5 is gonna increase the level of your elemental skill, the same thing. In my opinion, it's not worth it. And then finally for a C6, when you're inside of her elemental burst, when you deal damage to her auto attacks every 2.3 seconds, you're going to be able to deal like one extra hydro hit. It's going to deal 15% of your max HP as damage. The most important thing is the hydro application. It's not really the damage. So if you want to use her with a character like Sainu, for example, where you'd want to add in like hydro and she's like your only hydro enabler, then I guess it's going to be pretty good. Other than that, it's not really going to matter because usually she's going to turn your auto attacks to hydro. So for most characters, they're going to be hydro in the first place, and you're not really going to need that extra hit for hydro application. But I would say it's still a good constellation. For a 4-star C6, it's not really bad. It's gonna open up a lot of teams for you. So yeah, for her constellations, I would say just stay at C1 and that's it. Even at C0, she's fine. But C1, I would say is pretty good. Yeah, that's about it really. Other than that, I would say none of them are really like worth it. Alright, so now moving on to her weapon. She has kind of like limited weapon options. You can go for either a energy recharge weapon or an HP weapon. So we're just gonna list the options we have. You have the Engulf of Lightning. It's gonna give you a lot of energy recharge, so that's pretty good. Skyward Spine is gonna work too. We have the Catch, is pretty good too. It's also gonna increase your elemental burst damage, so if you care about that, that's pretty good too. We have the Favonius Lanes. It's one of the best energy weapons. The Prototype Star Glitter is also gonna work. And finally, if you want an HP weapon, you can go for the Black Tassel. I would recommend still using a energy recharge weapon. It's generally gonna be better because she's gonna need a lot of energy recharge. But yeah, these are her only weapon options in my opinion. I wouldn't really recommend going for like a weapon that's gonna increase your elemental burst damage specifically or anything like that, like the Wave Breakers or something like that. I wouldn't really say it's worth it. Just use an energy recharge weapon. It's gonna help you a lot with energy recharge, and that's it. Now moving on to her artifact set. There's not really any set that's like specific for her. She can use a lot of like random sets, I would say, so we're just gonna list them. Well, the best set in my opinion for her is gonna be the 4-piece Noblesse. She's a support, so if you don't have any other characters using the 4-piece Noblesse, then it's gonna be a very good set on her. The cooldown for elemental burst is gonna line in pretty well with the Noblesse, so that's pretty good. You can use other sets though, like the 4-piece Emblem of Severed Fate, that if you care about her burst damage. You can use the 4-piece Deepwood if you're using her in like a Dendro team. You can mix 2 pieces, like a 2-piece Nasty Steven the Millet, for example, and then a 2-piece Emblem of Severed Fate. A lot of sets are gonna be viable. Just look at what you have and then use it on her. She doesn't really need any set. Her support features are just gonna be there without any artifacts. So I would say just use the 4-piece Noblesse or any set you have. Now moving on to her artifact stats. You want HP or energy recharge on your Ascends, HP in your Goblet, and also HP on your Circlet. You don't really want to build crit or anything like that. Just use HP and you're good. For the Sands, I would recommend going energy recharge unless you have an energy recharge weapon and very good substats. In that case, you might go with an HP Sands. But if you don't have enough energy recharge, which I'm going to tell you how much you need a little bit, in that case, go with an energy recharge Sands. For the substats, you'd want to get some HP, energy recharge, and some elemental mastery is also going to be pretty good. She's not really going to be dealing that much reactions, but it's not going to be bad. Now for energy recharge, you'd want to have at least 180 to 220. Her verse is going to be like her main thing, so you definitely want to make sure you have 100% uptime on her elemental burst. I would say around like 200 energy recharge is going to be enough to do the job. Alright, so now moving on to her team comps. Well, she's very new and I would say she's kind of like unorthodox. So these are like some of the team ideas I can think of right now. So first of all, obviously you can use her as like a auto attacks buffer. So any character who deals damage with his auto attacks can use her. Well, as long as they don't mind converting their auto attacks to Hydro. Or if their auto attacks cannot be converted. So a team example, let's say Ayato, then Candace for example, and then let's say Yunjin, then Kazuha. That's gonna be a mono Hydro team and she's gonna work pretty well on that team. She's just gonna be buffing your Ayato's auto attacks and providing the Hydro resonance. Another idea you can use her in is that for any like Pyro DPS who doesn't mind their auto attacks being converted to Hydro. So with that, you can be dealing Pyro damage and then applying Hydro to make sure you vaporize all of your hits. A team example is gonna be, let's say, D-Luke or Sean Ling for example, and then let's say Candace, and then Bennett for the Hydro resonance, and then Kazuha for the swirls. In that team, let's say with D-Luke for example, your auto attacks are gonna be converted to like Hydro, so you'd want to auto attack and then like use your elemental skill and vaporize it, and then auto attack to apply Hydro again, and so on. It's basically just like using a Hydro Chongyun. Same thing with Sean Ling. You can use her in like a Electro Charge team, for example Candace, Yellen, then the Dendro MC, and then Kuki. That's gonna be a Hyper Bloom and Electro Charge team. And as I said before, if you have her C6, you can use her as like a small Hydro applicator. For example, you can use her with Sainu, so let's say you have like Sainu, Candace, then Fischl, and then let's say Kazuha. That's gonna be a viable option too if you have her C6. But yeah, she has a lot of teams and a lot of ideas. I'm pretty sure we're gonna figure out more ideas as she ages, but for right now, these are the best ideas I can think of. Basically, she's just an auto attacks buffer. So yeah, I think that was the video guys. If you enjoyed it, please don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and see y'all in the next video. Peace.